Hey, what's up? So I got a couple things that were kind of running through my mind. Nothing too terribly interesting because, of course, nothing's that important up there. Uh, but I was talking to a coworker today, and he was talking to me. He's like, you don't have any kids right now or anything like that. What are some things that would be important to pass down and all that? And, we're talking about things like that. One of the things that kind of struck him as a baffling thing was I was thinking like a real rite of passage, and would be taking your kid hunting. And I mean, I didn't grow up hunting or anything like that, so of course that really rung a lot at him, kind of baffled. It's easy enough to go to the food store and get things like that. You have to travel out, spend all time in the cold, walking around the woods, butchering, things like that. It turns a lot of people off. It's not really commonplace, especially for the city folk or suburb folk. There's people still out there in this country that feed themselves that way. But, I guess being a suburbanite, it really does look at people and be like, you want to do that with a kid? And I think the reason for that is it kind of hits on a lot of cultural things, maybe almost in a counterculture way of really going back on a food chain and stuff like that. I mean, this is depressing, but I mean, I've heard kids, and I mean, 7, 8 years old, who don't know where a hamburger comes from and thinks that it's a pork product because the word ham is in it. I'm not trying to be funny, that's the thing. So separated from what we're putting in ourselves. That's kind of a sad thing. But the other thing, too, is to do that, it requires a lot of trust and obviously safety. And I think there's this giant self-sufficiency thing to that, too, is like, as a parent, to be able to see your offspring, your little one, is in a position where they are mentally and physically sound enough to have some sort of weapon, be it your bow hunting or spear or rifle or whatever. It's not really relevant. You're able to know that they're sound of mind and physically able to use something like that. And, that's a big trust thing right then and there. But more so that they're able to quite literally put dinner on the table. I mean, every parent, I can see why they're happy their kid gets a job, has a career, has their own place. That's great and all that, but I mean, if all that goes south, then you know that they will be able to still feed themselves without having to dumpster dive. But I don't know, it just kind of seemed like something that it's really strange that it's kind of faded away. I don't really know why. It just seems like one of those things, like, we still carve a whole turkey on Thanksgiving, and it's a whole butchery process, and you pass that down from generation to generation. You really don't need to know how to do that. I mean, if you live alone or stuff like that, or the restaurants will do it, or you can buy them pre-done, but it's always, everybody I know does it that way. They do it the old-fashioned way. So it just seems like there's this whole, still a drive in society to pass knowledge down, pass self-sufficiency down, and pass things you really don't need to know down. But it's important because of the culture. So, I don't know, it just, to me, seems like something that would really be, like, number one. But since, as I said, I don't have kids right now, it's, maybe I'm looking at it a different way than a parent would look at it. So, it is an assumption. But, that's about all I wanted to really say is, if I have a little one day, it'll be pretty awesome. We, go out and, hopefully, he or she will be feeding me that night. I don't know. I am pretty good at leading them little birdies, but we'll see. Okay.